is best at defending territorial integrity, warding off external aggression, but sometimes, like as in this case, the military is involved in a lot of internal operations. Has the army, for instance, been able to re-strategize in order to carry out those internal operations as much as possible with to the barest with the barest form of conflict with the civilian populace?
Yes, there are both right now kinetic and non-kinetic lines of our military operations. And this is as a result of the evolution of the various type of security threats that we are beginning to contend with as a result of the asymmetric warfare, which is different from what was in the past. And of course, the National Defense Strategy itself, which has been, signed in, has also guided the military as to how their operations and how the conduct of such operations will be. The truth of the matter is that our threats are both internal and external, and therefore the Constitution makes it very clear our role, and one of them is actually coming to the aid of civil authority when called on. And so we are within the mandate of our constitutional responsibilities, that if we are called in for issues having to do with insecurity internally, then of course we will deploy, and all of our training is geared towards both internal and external contingencies. So we are very much prepared. Our training continues to evolve. As I said, the vision and the thrust given by the Chief of Army Staff makes it very clear that apart from kinetic lines of operations, we are also dealing with the non-kinetic, which is winning the hearts and minds of our people. And therefore, you see, for every exercise, for every operation that is conducted, there will be a non-kinetic line, which has to do with provision of medical resource, outreaches, provision of educational, packages, ensuring that we're able to deal with some issues having to do with sinking of boreholes, and so many other non-kinetic arms, which actually enables our operations. So we are dealing with both the physical, which is having to do with our weapon system, with our platforms, while at the same time too we are now evolving means of being able to win the hearts and minds of the citizens. So that is a paradigm shift from the past, where it was just basically attritional warfare, where we deal with only our contending adversary or enemy, as the case may be, who is probably also trained, in a way as ours. But here now, the space itself, it traverses everywhere. So that is the issue of our current fourth generation warfare.
Dr. Maduokwe, two issues here. Is this the sign of the times on the one hand, and how should opinion leaders conduct themselves, air opinions at sensitive periods like this?
Signs of the time, yes, in terms of politics gone wrong. Take for example the Benue experience. When the military were not put in there, people were shouting Blue River. Why send police? They don't like Benue. That's why they didn't send army. They send army there. Why army? They have come to collude, to men, to kill. You can see contraptions here and there. Is politics gone wrong? That is sign of the time. The other aspect you raised, which is
opinion leaders.
Again, you find out that yes,
and this may be at whatever level of society, young, old,
It is even made worse because today The social media is there open. Everybody's a newscaster, just like Cyril here now. You find out that they contract their message, they push it out. We were now told there was one Bako who was part of those who planned to kidnap the Dapchi girls, and so people will religiously repost it. We are now told that yes, these people were flown by plane, and you wonder which airline, which Boeing 707 carried them. Could it be helicopter? How many helicopters could have carried them? Nobody want to reason again. All we just want to say, yes, we knew this was a cooked up matter. When they were not released, they were saying no, this government is lousy. You see what we mean? They're inept. They were there. These people. So it is politics gone wrong, and there's nothing we can do than to remain focused, knowing that we are doing the right thing, so that at the end, our records will show that we are doing the right thing and we are on the right path.
General, in the face of all this, you give the military stance, the army stance. What will the army continue to do in situations like this where there is some form of mutual suspicion?
Well, first of all, as I told you earlier on, that the Nigerian Army has taken it upon itself to look at the various operations, especially there in Taraba State.
Without prejudice.
Without absolutely no prejudice. And it does not preclude any ministerial or above investigations either. And that is just a way of ensuring that there is absolute, command and control, and we know exactly the conduct of our commanders in the field. But then the Nigerian Army will absolutely not accept anything having to do with unauthorized persons bearing arms.
Right.
Until and when those who are elected to represent this nation in the houses of assembly, houses of the Senate, the House of Reps, pass a law that authorizes people, to bear arms, we will stick to the laws that is currently in existence.
All right.
And whoever it is, it is not going to be acceptable. We are coming out to support the police and ensuring that we mop up the proliferated arms and ammunition in our society.
All right, so at this point we must leave this discussion and say thank you to our guest, Major General Nuhu Agbazo, Chief of Civil Military Affairs. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, sir.
And Dr. Chidi Amadwekwe, Managing Director, Nigerian Film Corporation. Thank you once again. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that's it on Tuesday Live. We thank you for watching. Next week we'll be back with Tuesday Live. I'm Cyril Stober. Bye for now.
Watching NTA, Nigerian Television Authority. For more information and news updates, visit our website at www.nta.ng, or you can follow us on Twitter at NTA News Now, or you can like us on Facebook at NTA Network News. Stay connected on our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Watch our live stream at www.nta.ng/live. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
NTA brings you the best of entertainment.
I thought I was being sarcastic.
I went on to do other productions.
Everything music.
Yeah, which one you see?
If you look at the platforms for a particular product,
Get a new school playing. That's
wedding they hot, we go carry the hair go the and God the smell.
Someone is sad, you feel it.
I love you. Maybe just a little. I know this. Chop, they are already washed. It is all a mindset. Delicious.
To a president.
What else can I do with a shower for and dancers?
Watch these programs and more on NTA Entertainment Channel 105 on Star Times. NTAE, your one-stop entertainment channel.
Imagine a station where you access information. Think of a station that creates awareness for national development. Imagine a station that prepares you for a bright and greater future. A station for all ages. Documentaries, classroom and television, events coverage, children's programs and variety shows. Always stay tuned to NTA Knowledge on the Star Times platform. Channel 359. For partnership, sponsorship and advert placements, contact us on NTA Knowledge. NTA Knowledge, learning to broaden horizon.
NTA, you can't be Deutsch.
We're talking about balanced diet now, we're talking about healthy living, and we're talking about complex carbohydrates.
And you see, the essence of night and day is that day we can go for our daily activities, while the night is meant for us to have a very sound sleep.
Also, you need to exercise. It may sound counterintuitive, like why would you exercise when you're underweight? But the truth is it helps in your fat distribution. And it also
Everyone is talking about increased physical movement, increased physical ability. What about some light exercise? We can do it together.
Cross River State is located in the rainforest region of the nation, with most of its rich flora and fauna preserved over the years. The richness of its natural endowment remains unparalleled in the Nigerian landscape. From the lush vegetation traversing the entire state to the beautiful rivers and mountains, the state is indeed a nature's haven. Preserving this vast endowment is indeed an odious task, particularly in the face of rampaging deforestation and other similar activities. It is therefore not surprising that about 4,000 square kilometers out of the 21,000 square kilometers of the state has been preserved under the Cross River National Park. The park lies between latitudes 5.05 and 6 degrees 29 north and longitude 8 degrees 15 and 9 degrees 30 east in the southeastern corner of Nigeria. It consists of primary tropical moist rainforest ecosystem in the south and central part and montane mosaic on the Obudu Plateau. For lovers of nature and tranquility, navigating the park, which is regarded as the pride of Nigeria, is indeed a lifetime experience. The entire area is an important ecological genopole containing one of the oldest rainforests in Africa. The vegetation is studied to have evolved over 60 million years ago. In recognition of this critical conservation status, it has been designated as one of the 25 United Nations biodiversity hotspots in the world.
Cross River National Park is one of the oldest forests found in the Guinea-Congolian rainforest reserve. The oldest in Nigeria, and not even the oldest in Nigeria, the oldest in Africa. It has been discovered to have existed for over 60 million years, and it's still the only forest that is found in Nigeria that has existed in these years. Cross River National Park has iconic biodiversity like the Cross River gorilla, Nigerian Cameroon chimpanzee, rainforest buffalo, rainforest elephant, and so many other animals that are found in this region.
Cross River National Park has two distinct non-contagious divisions. The Okwango Division is a 1,000 square kilometers place, while the Oban Division, which is the larger of the two divisions, is about 3,000 square kilometers. This division is ecologically contiguous with Karup National Park on the Republic of Cameroon.
Where we are is we're right deep inside the tropical rainforest ecosystem, and we're trying to see how we can showcase the different distribution of plant species within this area. If you watch by my left, you can see with me there's a plant species here that has a very straight bold and has a triangular buttress and is scientifically known as a Clinoxoda gabonensis. It's a plant species that have there's a good timber product that can be sown and be marketed. And most times other economic values that can be attached to it is that it's being used as railway surplus in West African countries. And the routing itself is a very unique feature that you can see that more wildlife species can use them as habitat, because they help in stopping the visibility of hunters from getting them at certain points. So that feature you are seeing is a very unique characteristics, and the feature also, the nature of the routing also help us to identify them in terms of giving them different nomenclatures if you are coming into the field.
Our adventure of the park started from the Okwango Division, which has about 1,545 documented species of plants in 98 families, some of which are extremely rare. The division is also home to the Cross River gorilla, as well as 17 other primates. Traversing the entire green landscape afforded us the opportunity to appreciate the endowments. From the various species of plants that were encountered in the course of our exploration of the park, to the various rock formations, as well as the vintage tropical rainforest ecosystem. In order to further enrich the fauna species of the park, there is the ongoing process of further release of some primate species into the wild.
Right here at enclosure 1, we have one group of putty-nosed guenon and one group of Mona monkey. And in hopefully the next few weeks, we'll probably begin the release for one of the groups, and then possibly a week after that, we will start the release for the other group.
The initiative is a fallout of the completion of the rehabilitation of some endangered species peculiar to the Cross River axis.
We have a lot of interesting tourist sites. We are also in collaboration with some NGOs, Secopan, that we are introducing some primates, three species of primates: the Mona monkey, the red-capped mangabe, and the putty-nose.
The project is going well so far. All primate release and rehabilitation programs are slow. Primates are very smart animals and they adapt to change very slowly. So we're taking our time, making sure that we can monitor the monkeys very well and making sure that they will be okay once they are released.
For the coordinator of the project, the process will not only ensure that the primates are returned to their natural habitat, but will also ensure that they are safe within the new environment.
In Calabar, we've rehabilitated them. We've cared for them, put them into stable social groups, and now we are starting their journey back home. So while they're here, we feed them similar diet to what we fed them in Calabar, but then we add to that bush fruits so that they can start to get used to eating what they're meant to eat in the wild. And after we feel that they have fully become acclimated, they're calm, they're socially stable, that's when we begin the actual release.
For lovers of nature, one of the unique selling points of the park is the location of the magnificent Kwa Falls within the vicinity of the park.
This is Kwa Falls. As you can see, it's a heavy water body cascading down the rocks. It flows from the Kwa Falls, the Kwa River, which is one of the water bodies in the park that crisscross the park. Of course, you know, you must have been told that one of the things the national park does, you know, protecting this very important ecosystem, is that the ecosystem serves as watershed. So this is an important water body that is being protected by the Cross River National Park. And so, of course, you know, needless to say what water does to humanity. So it is the protection of this very vital resource base that the national park can proudly, you know, justify one of the reasons it is established.
Located in Anegeje village, about 25 kilometers from the city of Calabar, Kwa Falls is an area of outstanding natural beauty. The falls are at the headwaters of the great river Kwa, cutting through a steep and narrow gorge surrounded by tropical mangrove forest made up of mahogany, ebony and spruce trees, supporting a vast array of wildlife. The beauty and soothing effect of the fall will always keep visitors fascinated and yearning for more any day. The Great Kwa River originates in the park Urban Hills, where it flows southwards, draining the east coast of Calabar, ending up at the Cross River estuary. The surrounding forest is a fantastic spot for spotting monkeys in their natural habitat. A staircase of 234 steps from the plain down to the resting place of the water characterizes the falls. The excitement and exercise offered by the staircase is like an added value for every visitor. That the park is a repository of nature's endowment is further accentuated by the prevalence of wide range of hills stretching far into the Cameroons.
This stretch of rolling hills you see behind me are the Urban Hills. They are right at the heart of the park and stretches all the way to the Bamenda Plateaus in the Republic of Cameroon. They provide excellent habitat for most of the wildlife species in the park, including the Nigeria-Cameroon chimpanzee. They also provide watershed protection for most of the streams and rivers that cross the park. We also intend to develop this eco attraction for hiking and mountaineering for the delight of our tourists.
The Urban Hills are indeed a unique selling point for the park. Exploring the whole range of hills spanning hundreds of kilometers will always reveal the treasure Cross River State and the nation is indeed endowed with. The beauty of the whole expanse of land is further accentuated by the presence of several rivers and streams.
This is one of the streams that traverses the park. This stream is called Erokut, and as you can see, it is very pure. Even the leaves that fall on it, some of the leaves have medicinal values, some of them have purification values. And so they help to make the stream very pure and safe for drinking. Rangers, while on patrol, and even the wildlife can drink it and feel safe.
Our surgeon also led us to one of such streams, and the experience was quite fulfilling.
We are at Ipan River, one of the many water bodies that crisscross the Cross River National Park. This particular location is Osomba village. This location is closer to the Urban Hills that you have seen. Urban Hills is made of so many ranges. The location here is close to one of the ranges. Of course, we did say that Urban Hills stretches from Urban Town to the Cameroons, over 60 kilometers of this very romantic hill.
Maintaining 4,000 square kilometers of the land and protecting the rich treasure contained within the whole expanse of the park is indeed quite arduous.
apart from the ranger unit, that the enforcement unit of the park, as we talk now, in Cross River National Park, we have about 320 enforcement rangers that on a daily basis try to patrol the boundaries and even the interior of the park to checkmate illegal activities such as logging, poaching, poisoning of streams, and other illegal activities.
Thus, the Nigerian park system had ensured the preservation of this treasure that the park represents.
The department is structured in such a way that we also have sectors. We have ranges around the national park, around the Cross River is 7 national park in the 2 sectors. So these sectors supervise the work of the ranges and then feed back the head office at Akampa, thereby making the management easy. And then at the departmental level, the management meets to decide and discuss how management will be made easy to ensure that the 4,000 square kilometer is properly managed.
The fauna species of the park, which is very rich, with many of the species endemic to the area. In fact, 18 out of the 23 primate species in Nigeria are located in the park. It is therefore not surprising that the park has always been a destination of choice for different categories of visitors, from tourists to researchers to interns from universities across the nation.
We are now in Ereku tourist camp. This is one of the park entry gate and a tourist camp for our visitors. Here we have a town ranger force of about 16 rangers who are engaged in active anti-poaching patrols. We also have a student hostel because the park itself is a natural laboratory. We have students coming from all over Nigeria for industrial attachment, for practical experiences, and even for research. We also have researchers coming all over, both within and outside the country, to conduct research within Cross River National Park.
One of the main reasons why we're here is to gain practical knowledge of all the things we've been taught right from our year 1 to the 300 level, and also to learn how to relate with the natural forest, and also learn how to make a research and analysis of all that has to do with all that we've been taught in the classroom.
The richness of Cross Rivers Park is really irresistible. For the purpose of making the stay at visitors pleasurable, an arboretum, a picnic garden, modest accommodation, as well as a network of nature's trails has been added to the landscape of the park. Hostel accommodation is also provided for students who are expected to stay long on the facility for possible research. The full complement of armed rangers and interpreters are also on hand to provide the necessary guide for tourists.
Go. We have over 105 communities around the park. These 105 communities around the park are serious challenge because there is this demand for farming, demand for bushmeat, and also the population around the community is also expanding, and that is giving serious challenge to the management. So therefore, the need for the management to collaborate and ensure that the community supports the activity of the park. And that's why we have these ranges within these communities, the support zone communities.
What we do is that when we have visitors, the local people provide porters. Some of us come from this area. we are employed, and we ensure that our people are also involved in the activities that take place in the national park. They provide porters, they provide guards, they provide the local cuisines, they provide the art and crafts that most visitors buy. Besides, we encourage the local people to provide some of the cultural dances that herald the visitors to the park. So, if you look at it, both the people, the cultural attributes, and the environment which we protect come together in ecotourism.
That the Cross River National Park is the pride of Nigeria is certainly not in doubt. With its varieties of natural endowments, thus any trip to Cross River State any day without a taste of what the park represents and has to offer will surely be an incomplete trip. Make a trip to Cross River National Park today.
Imagine a station where you access information. Think of a station that creates awareness for national development. Imagine a station that prepares you for a bright and greater future. A station for all ages. Documentaries, classroom and television, events coverage, children's programs and variety shows. Always stay tuned to NTA Knowledge on the StarTimes platform. Channel 359. For partnership, sponsorship and advert placements, contact us on NTA Knowledge. NTA Knowledge, learning to broaden horizon.
Yes, it be like say they want to tell us another story again, yo. Now so, you know, say people they say I be superstar, but for me, the real superstars are those people who go vote for the candidate of their choice without violence. So for these upcoming elections, be my superstar. Vote. No fights. No violence. Because the election will be won. We work together so the future will be brighter.
In most African culture, masquerades have some air of reverence, prestige, and respect. In Igbo cultural belief, for instance, masquerades are assumed to come from the spirit world. Because of this belief, there are lots of myths and mysteries surrounding the appearance of masquerades. Significantly, masquerades conjure fear to both the initiated and the uninitiated, especially women who do not participate at all in masquerading. Masquerades have also been deployed to various uses in Igbo culture. For example, in Igbo land, the Ijele is to masquerade what the lion is to animals. It is a royal masquerade, very colorful and graceful. Its status is further attested to by the presence of smaller masquerades on top of its head. It sees from all directions, and no other masquerade performs when it is performing. Dama, as the name connotes, is a beautiful young maiden. The facial beauty, beautiful costume with a matching head tie and figure-8 structure attracts people to her performance. The grace and allure of her dance steps is very arresting. This masquerade is purely for entertainment. The Odo Omabe masquerade, on the other hand, is a very serious one. In the olden days, it is the masquerade that is mostly used by the Igbo communities to enforce compliance to set rules and obligations. Odo or Omabe masquerades were held in great awe and their public appearance very occasional. Other masquerade types include Enyi, that is elephant, Ega, wonder and basket masquerade. The elegance, glamour, artistry, especially the ingenuity and creativity of the Igbos in their ability to present all manner of animals and art forms as masquerade, is still a myth and mystery on its own.
NTA International News.
President Muhammadu Buhari opens up on contentious issue of tenure elongation for national and state officers, advocates strict adherence to party's constitution. National Assembly refutes allegations of bribery demands to facilitate passage of 2018 appropriation bill. And former INEC boss Atahiru Jega cautions Nigerians on acts capable of endangering the integrity of 2019 general elections. Hello and welcome. This is the news on NTA International. Many thanks for joining us. I am Lami Ali. President Muhammadu Buhari has formally broken his silence on the contentious issue of tenure elongation for national and state executive officers of the party, saying the plan is not only unconstitutional but capable of putting the governing APC at grave risk. President Muhammadu Buhari, who stated this while addressing the National Executive Committee of
the All Progressives Congress insists that dictates of the party and national constitution must be strictly followed. State House correspondent Adam Sambo has the details.
It was a meeting full of hopes and expectations as the National Executive Committee members reconvened to conclude deliberations on burning issues affecting the party which were inconclusive at the last meeting. The issue of tenure elongation for national and state executive officers of the party, already approved by the majority at that meeting, may not have been part of the agenda for consideration, as indicated in the chairman's opening remarks.
We have two
spoke of the urgent need to resolve all outstanding issues and consolidate plans towards making the governing APC the strongest defender of public interest.
In particular, I think it is important for me to speak quickly on the contentious issue of the tenure of our national and state executive officers. I have taken some time to review and seek advice on the resolution, and what I found is that it contravenes both our party constitution and the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Quoting relevant sections of both the APC and Nigeria's constitutions to buttress his position, the president said what is expected under the present circumstances is for the party to conduct fresh elections once the tenure of the current executives ends.
A caretaker committee cannot remedy the situation and cannot validly act in place of elected officers. I think if we deviate from the constitutional provisions, we might be endangering the fortunes of our party. If the tenure of our party executives can be legally faulted, then it means that any nominations and primary elections that they may conduct can also be faulted. This is not talk of divisions that would arise and is already arising within the party when some of our members feel that they are being denied the right to aspire to executive positions, or that internal democracy is not at play within the party.
President Buhari is of the firm belief that it is better to follow strictly the dictates of the party and national constitutions rather than put the APC and its activities at grave risk.
Fortunately, we have already approved a timetable for the holding of congresses and elections. I think this should be allowed to go forward, and all efforts should now be geared towards making them a great success. We should not allow our party to be vulnerable to the opposition by delaying us or to divide us further within the party.
During the meeting, the party congratulated the president for what it described the miraculous release of Dapchi school girls and prayed for the protection and safe return of Leah Sharibu, who demonstrated uncommon courage in her faith. A moment of silence was also observed in honor of the 5 Dapchi school girls that lost their lives during the trying moment, as well as the late Senator Ali Wakili and Dr. Hassan Lawan. In Abuja, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And in a related development, the National Executive Council of the All Progressives Congress, APC, has agreed to set up a technical committee to advise the party on how to address lingering issues of tenure extension that was raised during its meeting a month ago. This was among other critical issues of importance that dominated discussion at the National Executive Council meeting held in Abuja. Salihu Abdullahi has the details.
The second National Executive Council meeting provided opportunity for party leaders to review party's operations with a view to consolidating its gains and coming up with more ideas on how to strengthen the party and ensure it maintains relevance in governance. Governor of Kogi State Yahya Bello and the National Publicity Secretary of the APC Bolaji Abdullahi briefed the media at the end of the closed-door meeting. They say so much progress has been made in resolving contemporary issues such as the ongoing constitutional amendment of the party, the report of the party's Committee on True Federalism, as well as the proposed tenure extension of the current National Working Committee.
So members of NEC thank the President for the graciousness of saying, look, even despite he has held a position, that is still saying that he wanted an input of the members of NEC. The NEC decided to set up a small team to advise the party on the way forward on this matter. At the moment, there is no decision taken, so the position of NEC still stands.
APC, they say, remains a strong united family and will continue to deploy its internal peace-building mechanism to meeting the demands of all members.
So that is why we are saying that in view of the crisis that will be generated from the congresses and the primaries before the general election, we should allow them to continue to act in that capacity.
They described the second NEC meeting as timely. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
In the meantime, stakeholders of the All Progressives Congress have expressed absolute confidence in the ability of the governing party to retain power in 2019, given the renewed sense of unity, understanding and cooperation amongst party leaders and supporters. This was after a well-attended caucus meeting of the party presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. State House correspondent Adam Sombo reports.
It was a well-attended family meeting aimed at concluding deliberations started exactly 1 month ago on burning issues affecting the governing All Progressives Congress. President Muhammadu Buhari presided over the meeting, attended by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Senate President Bukola Saraki, Speaker Yakubu Dogara, APC governors, members of the National Working Committee and other stakeholders. Extensively deliberated behind closed doors were issues relating to the constitution of the party, true federalism, as well as interinstitutional relationship, especially between the executive and the legislature. National Chairman of the party, John Odigio Yegun, and other stakeholders spoken to described the meeting as fruitful.
It's a meeting to conclude the agenda we started the last time we met, which we didn't complete.
We had a good meeting and we deliberated a number of very, very important issues that would bind all of us as faithful members of the party.
A lot of people didn't believe we would meet in peace, and you can see we're all smiling.
And we are happy with the attendance and the comments by members of the caucus.
The party has always been united, and so it has come out much more stronger, I believe.
All we are trying to do is crystallize the strength of the party ahead of the 2019 elections. We are optimistic that with President Muhammadu Buhari running again 2019, even though he has not given the commitment yet, but we all feel he has to. And with him giving us this commitment, running for the party once again, then we obviously don't have any problem.
The meeting, which lasted about 3 hours, thrashed out the various contentious issues affecting the party and far-reaching measures taken on the best way forward. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the APC leader Bola Ahmed Tinubu says President Buhari's position at the NEC meeting saves the party from serious legal turmoil. In a statement, he says, if the elongations were deemed illegal, then all subsequent party actions, including the nomination of all of candidates for elective offices, might also be of questionable legality. Such a predicament, he says, would constitute an unnecessary and mortal blow to the party and its role in promoting progressive governance in Nigeria. Bola Ahmed Tinubu notes that it's a good day for those who cherish democracy and legality. The president's action will also serve to strengthen the party by allowing party members, including present incumbents, to seek to contribute to the party by vying for executive offices as they see fit. And away from the APC, mixed reactions continue to trail the apology tendered by the opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, to Nigerians for what it calls mistakes of the past. In this report, political correspondent Abdullahi Garba-Birnin-Kudu reviews some of the events that led PDP to its present status and what Nigerians say.
For 16 years, People's Democratic Party ruled Nigeria from 1999, when it had 28 governors, majority in the National Assembly, and of course at the center. The party, however, began to shrink, leading to its failure in 2015 elections, when it lost the center and was only to 11 governors. Part of the reasons advanced for the failure of the party include alleged looting of the treasury, especially when the country boasted of high foreign reserves, the deterioration of security situation, as well as impunity and lack of internal democracy in the party. At the national discourse organized by the party, PDP's current leadership came out to admit these mistakes and ask for forgiveness from Nigerians.
Apologize generally to Nigerians and ask for forgiveness.
But for the ruling All Progressives Congress and its chieftains, the apology is rather coming too late and unjustifiable.
We need to go beyond this groveling apology. They need to come clean and confess their sins. And then from that, Nigerians may now begin to consider what kind of atonement they will need to go through.
Is it the official saying that corruption and legalizing of corruption, that corruption, stealing isn't corruption?
What the administration is doing now is that by his frugal management of the economy, PDP feels that their looting propensity is being enhanced. They now want to confuse the Nigerians so that they can have another bite to their looting characteristics.
Other Nigerians have also been reacting to the PDP's apology.
If they win now, they will start where they stop again.
In Nigeria, or we the masses, we accept the apology.
Now that we are going out from recession, so we can still come back to the main bag again, so that this thing will continue like that. No, guess how we can't vote for PDP and we can't forgive them. Because
political observers say only time and events will tell whether the apology will hold water few months to the elections. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Kudu, NTA News.
And the federal government has asked the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to go the whole hog with its apologies to Nigerians by returning all the funds looted from the public treasury under its watch during its 16 years in power. In a statement issued in Abuja, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, equally challenged the party to show the genuineness of its apology through a discernible change of attitude. The minister said PDP presided over an unprecedented looting of the public treasury, perhaps the worst of its kind in Nigeria or anywhere else in the world. Therefore, the best evidence of penitence for such a party, he stressed, is not just to own up and apologize, but also return the looted funds, as anything short of that is mere deceit. Lai Mohammed added that even with the paucity of funds, the present administration has spent an unprecedented amount of money on infrastructural development and social investment program, among others. Therefore, returning the looted funds will provide more money for such programs and make life more meaningful for Nigerians. The statement continued by reminding the PDP, and I quote, "If you find yourself in a hole, stop digging," unquote. Lai Mohammed chided the PDP to press the reset button and stop sabotaging the work of this administration, which is parking the mess they left behind through their reckless statements and unfounded allegations. He also advised the party to play responsible opposition politics and put Nigeria's interests over and above partisan interests. The minister, however, advised the party to temper its desperation to return to power and spend quality time in purgatory in its quest for forgiveness. And former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has formally announced his intentions to run for the office of the President of Nigeria in 2019 to members of the PDP in Rivers State, with a call on party faithful to join forces to ensure that the PDP returns to power in the next political dispensation. Ogedi Nyekwere reports that the former Vice President says he is offering himself to salvage the country and set her on the wheel of progress. Atiku Abubakar was in Rivers State to consult and inform the PDP family of his decision to vie for the #1 office in the land. Now to election matters. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, at a national colloquium on the commission beyond 2015, says a total of 7.9 million eligible voters have been added to the voter registration within the first round of the just ended continuous voter registration exercise. Correspondent Timothy Yusuf reports that the chairman, who also disclosed that voter registration is already on display from the 26th of March to Friday, the 30th, for claims and objections, restated the Commission's commitments to conducting a free, fair, credible 2019 general election.
The colloquium convened by Independent Service Delivery Monitoring Group is essentially to find out the level of preparedness of INEC towards the 2019 general election.
For the 2019 elections, the ISDMG will be deploying cutting-edge technology in the field to ensure that history is properly documented. We have no iota of doubt in our minds that this INEC is set to break bounds, as evidence available to us suggests.
The INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, assured that votes will continue to truly count as the commission strives to uphold the integrity of the ballot in subsequent elections. He explained that the new INEC has reduced election litigations to the barest minimum out of the 179 elections so far conducted under its watch.
The fact that the previous elections were actually determined by the courts rather than at the ballot boxes. When elections are conducted and there is minimal litigation, it's an indication that we are taking the right steps.
With about 325 days to the conduct of the 2019 general election, Professor Yakubu reassured Nigerians that the voter register will be cleaned up before the exercise. He thereafter unveiled a report of past elections held in Kogi, Bayelsa, Edo, Ondo, Rivers, FCT and Anambra, captioned INEC Beyond 2015. Overview, Challenges and Prospects, compiled by the Independent Service Delivery Monitoring Group. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Meanwhile, former INEC chairman Professor Atahiru Jiga has warned Nigerians against acts and conducts that may endanger the integrity of the 2019 general elections. He was speaking as the 2018 Founders' Day lecture of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies. Femi Okewu has the details.
It is now less than a year to the 2019 general elections, and while so much has been done in terms of preparations, much more is still being expected, particularly in the area of execution of plans. Although there is still so much to be done on the field, lectures like this help to set the stage for the 2019 general elections. The Founders' Day lecture of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies provided an opportunity for all concerned persons to make contributions towards enhancing the integrity of the 2019 general elections and examining the challenges and prospects, which was the topic of the lecture.
Giving us a recipe for order and security in elections.
There is no gainsaying the fact that election is a fundamental tenet of democracy and rule of law in any democracy.
But the guest lecturer, Professor Atahiru Jiga, brought in a wider perspective to the topic, warning that the responsibility of ensuring integrity in the Nigerian general elections does not lie with INEC alone. He said that politicians, lawmakers, the courts, security agencies and the general citizenry all have a significant role to play in ensuring the success of the elections.
What has been a major challenge for us in this country is that we have allowed our institutions to be very, very weak and to lack the capacity to protect and defend the integrity of the mandates that they are supposed to execute.
He warned on the implications of delaying legislations that will assist in the elections. And coming from someone who has seen it all, Nigerians will benefit from takeaways that he has been able to give in this lecture. In Abuja, Femi Okewu, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA International, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. We will be back after the break. Don't go away.
National News. Africa as it is.
Thank you for being there. One of the beauties of democracy is the concept of continuity of government, but that may not appear to be so in Africa. However, in the effort to strengthen democratic principles in Nigeria, the Buhari administration has taken up the challenge to clear all long-standing obligations inherited by the present administration. He has therefore written to the House of Representatives requesting the passage of a bill to that effect. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nko reports.
Obligations.
Speaker Yakubu Dogara read executive communication to members highlighting the inherited obligations which President Muhammadu Buhari seeks to clear in the interest of national development.
Unpaid obligations to pensioners, salaries and promotional areas to civil servants, obligations to petroleum marketers, contractors and suppliers, debts, unpaid power bills and obligations from tariff reversal in 2014, export expansion grant, EEG scheme debts, judgment debts.
Debts owed states by the federal government was also included among the obligations to be cleared.
Refunds to state governments for projects undertaken on behalf of the federal government.
Security matter was considered as Representative Bosun Oladele from Oyo State moved the motion on the need for security agencies to deploy security personnel to Irebo, Orelope, Olorunshogo Federal Constituency of Oyo State to check what he described as part of killings in the area as members observed a minute silence in honor of those killed during the attacks.
They stormed villages to maim, loot, and even kill in search of food.
And they've gone to about 200 villages within Oyo State or within that federal constituency alone. What have we done to strengthen our borders?
The House considered and approved the report of its Committee on Works on a bill for an act to repeal the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency and to enact the Federal Roads Bill for the establishment of the Federal Road Authority. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nko, NTA News.
In another development, the Senate has refuted allegations in the social media and some national dailies that legislators from both chambers of the National Assembly are soliciting for bribes to pass the budgets of ministries, departments and agencies. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adigunlu reports that this followed a point of order raised by Senator representing Delta North, Peter Umaboshi.
The allegations of sharp practices by legislators have been circulating for several days, and the senators took exception to these with a call to bring to book those who are responsible for what they consider a smear campaign against the National Assembly.
It is unfortunate that many of us are being dragged into this unfortunate situation. I know that many of you did not collect that money. This is scandalous. So I think that to put this to rest and to let the public know and maintain the integrity of this house, this issue must be thoroughly investigated.
This matter impinges on the integrity of the entire, and this Senate for the last 2.5 years since we started, we've never had this kind of report. This matter is referred to ethics and privileges and ensure that within a week you fully investigate this matter and bring a concise, accurate report for us to consider. Let us hold our comments until the end of the investigation, and then we will decide what to do at that point.
The ongoing saga concerning Senator representing Kogi West, Dino Malai, and various allegations against him also came to the fore in a point of order raised by Senator Issa Misau representing Bauchi Central. The legislators believed that due process in the case has not been followed, and a principle of democracy is to allow for tolerance of divergent views. They mandated the Joint Committees on Judiciary and Police to investigate the matter and report back in 2 days. Plenary was subsequently adjourned to allow APC senators to attend the second National Executive Committee meeting of the party. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adigunloye, NTA News.
In the meantime, the National Assembly says ecological degradation have largely devastated and reduced life expectancy, particularly in rural communities across Nigeria. This was during a public hearing by the Senate Joint Committee on Ecology and Climate Change and the Environment on a bill for an act to establish the Ecological Fund for the purpose of funding certain federal agencies dealing with environments and ecological problems. National Assembly correspondent Ifeanyi Ezumba reports.
The bill seeks to create a legal framework for the management of ecological fund to ensure its proper utilization for environment and ecological purposes. Declaring the hearing open, the Senate President in a message said the bill will bring accountability and credibility to the administration of the fund.
The reasoning behind the setting up of the ecological fund was not enough. Nigeria is beset with many environmental and ecological challenges. The loss of arable land through desertification and drought has led to the loss of grazing land, resulting to the migration of herdsmen migrating with the entire cattle down south.
The utilization of the ecological fund, particularly since the return of civilian rule in 1999, has been embroiled in endless controversies that in most cases are hinged on gross mismanagement.
The Director, Drought Desertification and Coastal Zone Management, Ecological Fund Office, said some of the observations raised on the bill has been taken care of.
This bill is talking of 2%, but we know it's 3%. What's going to be happening to the local governments, what's going to happen to the states, and then the issue of disbursement allocations to various agencies.
What we have to actually fine-tune is the process of disbursement so that it will not be lopsided at the end of the day.
The Joint Senate Committee is optimistic that if the bill is passed into law, it will not impose financial burden on the federal government. Rather, it will ensure proper and timely disbursement of funds to agencies charged with responsibility of tackling ecological and environmental problems. From the National Assembly, Ifeanyi Ezumba, NTA News.
The federal government has reassured Nigerians of its commitment to implement the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan of the 2018 budget when passed into law by the National Assembly. It was the position of Minister of State Budget and National Planning and others who attended the second national budget hearing at the instance of the Joint Senate and House Committee on Appropriations. National Assembly correspondent Kenneth Nanim brings us the details.
It was a gathering to evaluate how far the 2017 budget has been implemented in various government ministries, departments and agencies, as well as trace the roadmap for the implementation of the 2018 appropriation that is yet to be passed by the National Assembly.
We should use this great opportunity of this platform for the entire day to address the areas of our concern, whether their revenue targets, their revenue performances, their assumptions, their area of clarity.
Legislators are constantly in touch with their constituents and are therefore in a position to appreciate their peculiar priority needs, which they can then articulate in the budget.
The minister has explained progress made so far in the 2017 budget implementation despite paucity of funds. They expressed the hope of achieving the desired developmental infrastructure, security, good healthcare services through a viable and sustainable economic policies.
We shall continue to leverage private capital and counterpart funding for delivery of infrastructure.
We also intend to use the prisons funds in order to train prisoners and to contribute to government's efforts towards diversification to agriculture.
We achieved 5,000 megawatt distribution capacity, even though we are producing 7. We needed to bridge that gap of 2,000 and do an expanded distribution network intervention.
The health sector has suffered a lot from a lot of industrial action, and a lot of it has to do with inadequate provision for salary.
Some members of the Joint Committee and other stakeholders raised various concerns on the execution of capital projects in the budget, especially on road construction and electricity generation. They also urged the ministries to always consider those with special needs in their projects.
Why we have this public hearing is also to allow public participation so that it will be a people's budget.
It was also a consensus that points raised at the public hearing will be well harmonized to achieve a better budget system in Nigeria. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Being open and carrying along citizens are considered key elements of democratic governance. These are, however, found to be missing in many democracies, hence the new order to promote good governance through transparency and citizen engagement. Aliu Tukur has the report.
2018 budget is about 1.something trillion naira. I'm not too certain though. I don't know the federal government policies.
Emmanuel and Moses represent a cross-section of Nigerians who do not know how government business is run, let alone hold the government accountable. To change this trend, Nigeria in July 2016 joined the Open Government Partnership when President Muhammadu Buhari attended the Anti-Corruption Summit in London. The Open Government Partnership is an initiative that focuses on improving government transparency, accountability, and responsiveness to citizens through technology and innovation. To promote this, top government officials and civil societies meet to brainstorm on how to implement the goals of the National Action Plan of the Open Government Partnership set out by government. The 14 goals cut across 4 thematic areas of fiscal transparency, anti-corruption, access to information, and citizen engagement.
My call to Nigerians is to participate actively and effectively in the process of Open Government Partnership.
To ensure that ICT is utilized to bring government closer to the people.
When you want to have a strong governance system, you must be able to engage with the citizens.
The Minister of Information and Culture was represented by NTS Executive Director, Admin and Training.
There is also an input-output mechanism which creates a level of interaction between the government and the general society.
Established in 2011 with 8 countries, the Open Government Partnership now has 76 countries as members, with Nigeria being among the 11 from Africa. In Abuja, Aliu Tukur, NTA News.
Moving on now, implementation of the Federal Ministry of Education Strategic Plan Education for Change 2016 to 2019 has continued with a public presentation of new history curriculum and teacher's guide for the reintroduction of the subject in the country's basic education. Olanka Ojo reports.
Did you study history as a subject while in primary school?
No, I didn't.
Not at all.
In the last 3 decades, the study of history as a subject has not been part of the curriculum of basic education of both public and private schools in Nigeria. A development that many believe has had negative impact on the youth, which necessitated the clamor for reintroduction of the subject to promote and instill patriotism, national cohesion, social and economic stability.
To deepen the positive understanding of our traditional values.
Seen as beyond the 21st century instrument for national integration, the new curriculum is divided into lower basic, middle basic, and upper basic. This is in furtherance of government's commitment to move the nation onto the path of development by exposing teachers, pupils, and students to the good, glorious, and better lessons of the nation's existence as a people.
This development represents a fundamental shift in policy that history is coming back, and it demonstrates the conviction of the current administration of the importance of history as a tool for self-knowledge.
A nation without history is a nation without a future.
The new history curriculum and teacher's guide for basic education have also been distributed to all states, including the FCT, for immediate adoption and implementation. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development is to have a permanent office complex for effective and efficient service delivery. Minister of State Agriculture, Heineken Lukobiri, says the ministry will also invest in data and information technology. Musa Baba Aliu reports.
This is where the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development is situated in the premises of the Federal Capital Development Authority Office Complex. The Minister of State for Agriculture, Heineken Lukobiri, says before the end of this year, the ministry will move to its permanent place.
In the 2018 budget, we have appropriation, to get another place, that can accommodate a lot of our, staff. And we believe that when the budget is passed, we'll aggressively ensure that we get that done, so that we may move to a place that is our own, and not to be perpetual tenants in this FCT building.
To this end, the ministry is to upgrade its library structure to meet the demand of researchers and data analysts visiting the ministry.
And I believe that, the only way to go, the only way we can improve, our agriculture in Nigeria is research and innovation. And I believe that the only way we can encourage other people to, to also help in building this library is for me to take the lead by donating, my 1 month salary, some time ago.
Heineken Lokobiri and other officials of the ministry donated relevant books and materials to the ministry's library. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
The federal government has declared Friday 30th March and Monday 2nd April 2018 as public holidays to mark the Good Friday and Easter Monday. A statement by the Minister of Interior states that the federal government has enjoined Christians and Nigerians in general to employ the spiritual ethos of Easter to ensure unity and peaceful coexistence, while urging Nigerians to remain supportive to President Muhammadu Buhari administration in its efforts towards building a peaceful, united and prosperous nation. Nigerians are implored to use the occasion to pray for the peace and unity of the country. You're still watching the news on NTA International, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. Don't go away as we bring you more stories and sports updates after the break. Many thanks for joining us again. Just like in cyber crimes, terrorists every hour re-strategize to perpetrate their acts. Knowing full well that they have been totally degraded in the northeast, the insurgents have now resorted to abduction of school children to gain popularity. The last was the abduction of 111 children from Dapchi at Debola Brixland Sunday, and this report chronicled the entire scenario.
The abduction of the girls no doubt brought back the painful memories of a similar event in Chibok in 2014, which took the doggedness and political will of the Buhari-led administration to rescue most of the girls. All over traditional and social media, the news was trending. Both Nigeria and her friends were asking, why are the girl child the target of the insurgents? In demonstration of his administration's proactive nature, President Muhammadu Buhari ordered the immediate search and rescue of the girls.
Not left any stone unturned in making sure that the girls are rescued.
Following the directive, the Nigerian Air Force flew about 50 hours in a surveillance drive that covered northern fringes of Borno State and bordering Niger Republic.
We are very optimistic that whatever we are doing will ultimately, by the special grace of God, lead us to where these girls are, and so that they can all be rescued and reunited with their family members.
Few days later, the Minister of Defense, Mansouda Ali, led other federal government delegation to Dapchi to deliver a message of hope and commitment of President Buhari towards ensuring the safe release of the girls. The visit of the delegation paid off as the girls were released after 32 days in captivity. And this was a cheering news for Nigerians both at home and abroad. Following their release, the president ordered some ministers to move to Dapchi to take charge of activities. The government steps attracted commendations from Nigerians and some of the nation's friends.
I really commend the government of Nigeria, to make all this effort to bring them back.
The first step and it's a good one, and I really congratulate the government of Nigeria.
I'm happy for them, and I think schools should create more tight security.
However, the girls, including a boy, were given a state reception by President Muhammadu Buhari, where he sounded a note of warning to service chiefs.
I want to thank you for saving our life. God bless you, sir.
Security chiefs have been warned in clear terms that any lapse on their part